Hey! Looks like everything's working. Yep, okay, good. OBS is being stupid, but whatever. Hi everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday stream. Um, as you can see, I am currently standing instead. A little bit of a switch 'em up for today, because I am dealing with some hip pain that I haven't had to deal with in a while, and it's really irritating. So, I hurt myself while sleeping. Hi, Arcane! This is what your late 30s looks like. Yeah, so most people probably don't know this, but I had a bum hip a while ago because I injured myself at work, and I worked past that. The pain is mostly gone most days. Only if I really push it does it come back. And now that pain has moved over to this side. So I don't know what I did. That day, the gym went great. I had no tweaks or anything, and then the next day, I woke up with pain, and I have no idea what I did in my sleep. But apparently, I decided to try to run a marathon while in my dreams or something. I don't know. But yeah. So if my breaks last a little longer, hi husband. If my breaks last a little longer, it's because I have to stretch a little bit more because it is actually extremely painful if I don't pay enough attention to it. So please, if I shift and move a lot, it's because I'm uncomfortable and in pain. I've had 2 back surgeries before 30, so I know the feeling. Yep, okay. Yeah, you get it, Arcane. So yeah, it's just finding the right exercise and stretches for a while until it gets itself back to where I'd like it to be, which is not in pain. So if it looks like I'm looking more down at you than normal, it's because, chat is, like, downwards and everything, so beg your pardon. It's also too hot for the hat, hang on. But I hope everybody's weekend was good, and you guys got to do some fun stuff. Hopefully you got to play Pretend and rest up. It was a good weekend. We got to play VTM again. Been a lot of stops and starts with our main group because of work and life and shit, so we were very happy to get back to that game. Lots of emotional shit happens in that game, and it's very cathartic for me to cry at the table. So got some shit out. So it feels good. So I'm positive in mindset, just negative in body, if you will. So what are you gonna do? But yeah, so that's what I'm dealing with, just so you guys know. Also coming up, this next meetup with my players for the Galdor campaign. It's actually not going to be the Galdor campaign. I've told you guys about the Lo-Fi Bards system. So that's what we're going to be playing. So I'm not going to be very focused on Galdor stuff. Not the world. We'll still world build the Galdor stuff. But I'm just saying, like, as far as game planning and stuff, as we talk about it and I build stuff, there's not really going to be a lot of world building and stuff, because this is going to be a very loose, light game that we're just going to sit down and interact with NPCs and have good times. So there's really no planning needed for that one. So yeah, that's just gonna be a little change in focus. What I was thinking of doing this stream, thanks to husband for the suggestion, is to look at the the Mummy campaign that we were talking about a couple streams ago. Thinking about doing that as our one-on-one game to stream to you guys once I get my new mic figured out. I'm just waiting for the tax return to come in, which again I am endlessly thankful for. So once that comes in and I order the mic, get that set up, we're going to be running that one-on-one streaming to you guys. If you guys have any suggestions on how to have you guys interact, like I watch a lot of I want to call it Arcadia, but it's not. Legends of Evantris, there we go. If you haven't watched their games, oh my god, go watch Legends of Evantris, because they are actually the funniest motherfuckers that do actual plays on Twitch. I love them, and they need They just did a one shot with Matthew Lillard, which was crazy to me. But they're just extremely funny people. Nikki is a great GM. I haven't watched their other games. I've only watched their Witchlight game, and they're fantastic. They're very funny. I can't. There's not a single session that I've watched where I didn't end up like tearing up laughing because they are just so fucking funny. So definitely check them out. But the part of the thing that they do, especially in the Witchlight campaign, is part of the audience interaction while they're watching the actual plays. Is there's random tables that the GM that the players can like tip or like spend points on, whatever it is. We'll figure it out. But they can have the players roll on a random table, which gives them a fey curse, and it's a random assortment of, you know, I'm trying to think of one. One is you have to sing everything you speak. I know that was one. Another one is you think you're a king of a long-lost civilization, and you have to produce an heir, which is great. There a lot of shit, and it's just completely random and funny, and I love it. So something like that could be fun and very interactive for you guys. I wouldn't do like actual money behind that, so don't worry about that if you're not in a good place. Nobody is, so I would not be expectant of such a thing for you guys, so don't you worry. It'd probably be channel points or something like that, so don't you worry about that. I'm not gonna expect you guys to put money down. I'm not Legends of Evantris yet. So that's a thought. If you have ideas, or if anybody wants to make up like a light, please remember, okay, this mummy campaign that I'm thinking of is much like the 1999 movie, one of my favorites of all time, and it's very light and pulpy. So, if you have any suggestions for a random table, or if you want to make one up, or whatever you want to do, we would be extremely grateful. For just a single suggestion on the table is fine, but keep it light, keep it fun, keep it pulpy and adventure-y and that kind of stuff. So just if you're so inclined, please look into it. So I think we're going to be taking a look at that, because that also kind of ties into some world building for Ta'amun. So we can look into that and what that means. We can decide on the history of Ta'amun. We have an idea of the history, and we have to take the mummy tomb idea and twist it, because remember, this was a place of Fae first and foremost. That is our former precursor race. So we have to take the mummy and make it Fae, make it Galdor. So we have to decide what that looks like and how it differentiates. I still want to stick to the Egyptian mummy kind of thing, but we're going to have to decide on what that means. And if anyone wants to go ham on it and design our boss, design our Imhotep, and fucking put us against it, because it would make our job easier, where we don't have to design the big boss or any of the enemies. If you have any suggestions, even of stuff that already exists and I just I'm not aware of, let me know in the Discord. Yeah, so there's a lot of moving parts, so I don't know exactly when this is going to happen. However, me and the husband do have a couple anniversaries coming up, which we plan on long weekends for, and maybe we can tie the stream into that. So there's one in April and one in May. The one in April is our dating anniversary, and then the one in May is our wedding anniversary. So either one or both of those we could spend a day on to stream to you guys, as kind of a celebratory thing, and a longer stream where you guys can watch us play a game together and maybe potentially fuck with us. That would be fun. So yeah, so that's the idea. That's the behind the scenes idea that I have. So hang on a second. I need to have something. I forgot to open up all my Twitch command center shit that I use while I'm streaming. Hang on 1 second. Okay, no Alright. And make sure my bots are up just in case they decide to go crazy for no fucking reason. I also, and I don't remember who it was that suggested it, I think it was either Stinks or Arcane. I'm down for that, yeah. It was either Stinks or Arcane, but I think I have it working now, where if you look at the channel points and your rewards for that, I think I have the audio fireball thing set up. I think it works. I don't think I have any visuals for it, but if at any time you guys want to scare the shit out of me, because that audio is extremely loud, feel free. I put a cooldown on it because I cannot have a wizard fireball screaming at me every fucking 5 minutes. I think I put the cooldown as 15 minutes or something. But yeah, so that's set up, and I kind of have an idea of how it works now. So I might, if you have any suggestions for other ones I can set up, other fun things, we'll do that. So, you know, for the mummy campaign, we'll do like roll on the table like audio. I'll see what I can find that kind of fits the vibe. But
it's wizard time,
motherfucker! Fireball! Okay, I do have visuals. Okay, cool. Alright, I didn't set that up. I don't know how to change it. So, hey, it works. Good. I gotta figure out how to make a little wizard guy show up or something. We'll figure it out. Or fire, at least. Hey, Jam Jams. We got it. Figure it out. If you guys want it more often, let me know. And if you think if the price is okay, you know, all that kind of stuff, please let me know. If you don't think it's fair, or if it's super fair. I don't know. I don't know how to price this shit. I just don't want it to be in my ear all the time. But I do appreciate the joke. I do appreciate that audio. It made me laugh very hard. So we got that. That's fun. And I have a general idea of how to set up more. I have limited slots on the free version of the program I'm using. But it's there. So, very cool. I'll fuck with the visuals of it later. I have written down stuff. Which stuff? TM. I know you're working on the trolls, which is super cool. There's a lot of stuff you're working on. Get this hat out of my way. So, yeah, again. So, if anything, we're gonna be kind of focusing on Ta'amun for a while because, you know, I've got another 2-week break before I have to worry about the Galdor group. So, we'll mess around with Ta'amun for the next couple streams, next couple weeks. And then we'll go back to our normal world building kind of stuff. But I would like to kind of get Ta'amun completely figured out, you know? That's the idea. Anyway, so, let me get over to, okay, you go away, this, locations. I wrote down stuff for the trolls, I wrote down stuff for the hex crafters, haven't written down the half trolls, but I'll do those tomorrow. Yeah, there's no rush, my friend. We appreciate any and all effort that you have put in thus far and will continue to do, because I'm so glad that you are so inspired by our silly little world here. And we're talking about the kind of characters we want to play, because it's going to be a one-on-one campaign, which means basically husband will be in charge of making 2 characters, and then I'll be in charge of making 2 characters. I gave the desert trolls big old bat ears. Oh, that's adorable. I love that. Troll goblin. Hello, I'm in the car, so this message will probably be late. Okay, hi Eek. Good to see you, though. Yeah, so basically we need the 4. In the original movie, you've got the adventurer leader kind of person. You've got, which, you know, Rick O'Connell. You've got Evie, the librarian, and the smarts. You've got Jonathan, who's like the rogue, if you will. I want to play in a campaign where I get to play 2 characters. That's awesome. Fucking be the change you want to see at your table, my friend. Ask your DM if you're allowed to do that. We usually, when we run on one, we usually do 4 characters. Like, one person runs 4 and the other person's GM. Especially for husband, because he's better at numbers. But I figured since we're streaming this one, you'd want us both to have equal kind of say on these characters and all that kind of stuff. And then you have... Oh, hydrate. Thank you, Eek. Appreciate that. So, and what did I say? The rogue, and then the hot magi. What's his name? Shit. Hang on. What's his name? He's so hot. He's got a cool name, and I can't remember what it is. Ardeth. Is that him? Ardeth Bay. Yes. Yeah. Character 4 kind of changes through the movie. True, but, you know, Ardeth is kind of the main guy, and he's, like, the capable one, so he could be, like, the guide. The pilots, yeah, those are all NPCs. The one colonel guy that, you know, flies the plane. Benny is kind of an NPC that's just kind of an asshole. That kind of stuff. So those are probably mostly going to be NPCs. Maybe we can bring them in if they join, but I think it's more like, you know, goodbye, Benny. That's still my favorite scene. I will fucking talk about the scene every time. My favorite scene in that entire movie is when Rick fucking wings that fucking chair at Benny. It is so fucking good. Because A, with the force that he does it with, and B, he did the thing that everybody wants to do to that character in those movies. You fucking just give him the chair, motherfucker. Fuck you, Benny. Like, most other, like, heroes are, like, you know, honorable, and it's just like, you come back here and chase after him, but he's like, nope, fuck you, wham! And it's just, it's so good. I could watch that clip over and over again, because it makes me laugh so fucking hard every time. Yeah, so, I'm thinking, you know, we've got O'Connell, or the equivalent of O'Connell is fighter or something, treasure hunter kind of guy. Evie is the smarts, so she could either be a bard or a wizard, I suppose. You know, bard of, like, lore, that kind of thing. Then you've got Jonathan, who I'm thinking rogue. Hi, Crafty, how are you? Oh, how did your game happen? Yes? The game in the con? Yes? Did that happen? Do you mind reading the trolls real quick? The desert trolls could spark some inspiration for writing and all that. Yeah, of course. And then, what are we doing, by the way? We are talking about the Mummy campaign that me and husband will stream together once I get my mic figured out. Since you guys are going to be playing the Lo-Fi campaign this coming week, so there's not a lot of world building to be done with that because it doesn't take place in Galdor. So I've got really nothing to talk about for that, and I'd like to figure out more about Ta'amun and the things within it to give us that you know, the good surroundings of it. So that's what we're doing today. What was I saying? Jonathan was a rogue. He could technically be a bard, I guess, but rogue is my initial, you know, he was a thief. He was an asshole thief, kind of thing that continually got into, like, gambling debts and stuff like that. And then Ardeth Bay is, like, fighter ranger guide thing? I don't know. He could be a lot of things. Sorcerer, even? Actually, no, I did write this up. I think that Ardeth Bay's equivalent is going to be one of the monks of the Woven Net. He's going to be a guide, he or she, I haven't decided, a guide of the desert that knows things about everything and is a monk for, like, a local monastery or something like that. I haven't figured it all out yet. That's my initial thought for him, because he had a monk thing going, I think, with his actions. He just happened to use a fucking Tommy gun. So, what are you gonna do? We went a Wild West LARP. I got it. It went great. Very well received. Mysteries were uncovered. Friends were betrayed. Ended in a big shootout. Hell yeah. Lots of characters died, of course. Some of them came back as ghosts to hunt their murderers. Good time was had. Hell yes, my friend. I'm so glad it went well. You were cutting it to the wire there for a while with the writing because you didn't have time, I remember. So I'm glad you pulled it out there. That's super awesome. I'm so glad to hear it. I really am. Yeah, so the trolls. Did you post them somewhere? Or are they in the guide already? Here, let me get the guide up. There we go. Oh, I opened it twice. But yeah, that's awesome, Crafty. I'm excited. Excited for you. Alright, that's them. Paper Kami, Crone, Desert Crones. Oh, are the trolls not in here yet? They're already in the... Oh, DM content. Gotcha, gotcha. Oh, there they are. Ha ha ha. Alright, that's the hag. Alright, gotcha. Oh. Okay. Deep trolls. Trolls, or no, just trolls. Deep trolls is later. Trolls in Galdor are nomadic people, dwelling primarily within Ta'amun, Wairu, and the Evershade. Yep. Respected by many peoples as adventurers and scholars, they wander the land, documenting its oddities, and going where no other creatures dare tread. Their bodies are incredibly resilient. Due to their innate regeneration, they tend to live for thousands of years. Okay. Deep trolls dwell within the Evershade, climbing amongst the cavernous roots of the World Tree. Their eyes are almost magically keen and can see through the deepest darkness. The most secluded of the trolls, deep trolls, tend to live in smaller tribes. Their tribes contain 3 to 4 people on average, as opposed to the 8 to 9 in most others. Desert trolls come from Ta'amun and have adapted bat-like ears to pick up on the faintest rustling of sand. Their vocal cords can let out a clicking tone to echolocate, far too high-pitched for most other creatures to hear, but perfectly within the hearing range of these trolls. Very cool. They wander the dunes, searching for lost ruins of civilization, searching for wisdom and knowledge, while many consort with desert crones, even allowing many of them into their tribe. Cool. Fasash hags are the mortal enemy of desert trolls. They can and will kill them with no remorse should they dare try to harm innocents. That's who owns the yeens. Oh, yeah. Aw, fucking yes! Trolls riding fucking yeens. That's adorable. Swamp trolls reside in Wairu, wading through murky waters to find buried treasures within the muck. Accustomed to the dimly lit bogs and fens, they lurk within the shadows, using their sense of smell to guide them. Some foreigners may consider this rather ominous, but those native to Wairu are welcome their fellow shade dwellers with open arms. Swamp trolls have a deep respect for the Malcherio, and often join their tribes as shamans and scouts. Swamp trolls also regenerate the fastest out of the trolls, making them excellent guardians. Cool. As trolls seal their wounds rapidly, scars have a cultural significance to them. Each scar tells a story. A battle waged, a hazard escaped, a comedic memory, a tragic tale. Trolls wear their tattoos and scars with pride, and may ritually scarify themselves to show status. The older a troll is, the more scars their body contains, the more stories they have to tell. Trolls are also the primary reason magical tattoos and rune magic made it to humanoids of Galdor. Hell yes! Through teaching these once giant exclusive traditions to the people, they allowed others to engage in their culture in ways none else have before. Nowadays, rune magic and tattoo magic is incredibly widespread and taught often by trolls and other giant kin. Oh, hell yeah. I love that. Very cool. Keen sight, regeneration, yep. Keen hearing, keen smell. Very cool. I love that. I love that very much. Yeah, that could, I mean, we could use that as a race for one of the characters potentially, or at least a interaction within the outline of the game. Right, so I wrote up the outline here for the movie, which is, you know, kind of, I vagified it so it's not as, you know, it's not based on, you know, what time is the campaign with you and Soto going to take place in Galdor? Yeah, it's going to be in Ta'amun. It's going to be mummy-based, but in Galdor. It's the mummy, but make it Galdor. Yeah, so That's why we're gonna kind of focus in on Ta'amun for a while for the next couple things. Magi character could be Nagas or kitty person trying to keep them out initially. That's true. I mean, yeah, that is how he starts. So yeah, I don't know how many of you have seen The Mummy, and if you haven't, fix that immediately. Nubia mentioned, yeah. Nubia, I mean, it might be, you know, depending on when in the timeline it takes place, either before Nubia heads out or after. Not sure. Either way, we'll figure that out. But the tomb that Nubia haunts might be a known entity to one or several of the characters. Could be something. Yeah, so, yeah, if you haven't seen the movie, more or less, they find a thing that's a key to a tomb, and they want to go to the tomb. They can't find the tomb because it's in a city that hasn't been heard of in forever. This is years after a war went down. They find a character that has been to it. That's funny, we ended up putting a bunch of references to the Mummy and Indiana Jones in the Wild West LARP. Yep, I mean, you gotta love pulp. It works for Wild West. So yeah, they get the Rick O'Connell, which is Brendan Fraser. He gets out of jail by the OG characters because he knows how to find the city that they're looking for. They start heading that way. He had been to this city previously because he was fighting a war. I don't know, it's 1912? 1912? Is that when it takes place? Hang on. I don't know what war they're fighting, honestly. There we go. 1926, excuse me. So yeah, 1920s pulp, good shit. So, yes, the good old days. So yeah, Rick was with the French Foreign Legion 3 years earlier. So yeah, whatever fucking war was going on. I was born in the wrong generation. Oh god. So the 20s before these 20s. So yeah, he ended up in the City of the Dead because they're fighting with the French Foreign Legion for reasons that they really never explain. Who cares? And they ended up going into the City of the Dead kind of by accident. And then he's like the lone survivor because like the mummy's like magic comes up and scares everybody away, whatever. Some people get ate by the sand, that kind of good shit. He runs off. The Magi character, Ardeth Bay, is just like, the desert will kill him, and they let him go. And then 3 years later, he's locked up because reasons, and because he was just looking for a good time, as his keeper is saying. The librarian Evie and her brother, who have the key, need to find them, so they pay for him to get released. Then the douchebag prison guy has to come with them too, because it's an investment. And he dies in the most horrible way possible in that fucking movie. I don't care what. Ugh. Anyway, watch the movie. It's really good. Without being gory. Like, there's really no gore. It's just, like, desiccated mummy bodies. There's no blood, really. It's just way more horrifying, actually, if you ask me. So then they find that there's a contingent of American adventurers, treasure hunters, that are like, we're gonna go to the city too. Human raisins, yes. And they're being led by Rix, the adventurer, the guide, whatever you want to call him, his former buddy that was also in the French Foreign Legion, but he ran off and because he's a coward shithead. And he's leading the Americans. And so they're both kind of going at each other, trying to beat each other to the city, and they get to the city and da-da-da-da-da. I'm not gonna For anybody that hasn't seen it, go watch it. It's fantastic. So it's an amazing base for an adventure, and it's been something I've wanted to do for a long time, so I'm very happy we figured this out for Galdor. And ad's about to start in like 10 seconds, so I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick, and I'll be right back, and we'll keep going. Okay, we're back. Oh, heading out, I will most likely be back. Have a great stream. Okay, bye, Eek. I'm sure you're already gone, but bye. Yeah. So, the Mummy is an amazing base for a D&D style adventure. I just thought of something that might make it a little bit more fair, even though I am going to be taking, you know, the brunt of the planning and stuff like that for the game itself. Something to make it a little bit more random and allow us to maybe not plan for everything. If you haven't heard of Mythic, this is the first edition, but the second edition just came out a couple months ago, I think. Maybe longer, I don't know. But Mythic is great if you don't have people to play with. Or if you don't have time to plan a whole game session or a game itself. This is meant to do exactly what it says on the tin, emulate a GM. This will take maybe not all of the planning off of your shoulders, but a hell of a lot of it. As long as you've got characters and a general vibe, you can probably just kind of run an adventure and go from there. The main thing that uses, I think I've talked about it before, but the main thing it uses is a fate chart. So the fight chart is something that you roll on pretty consistently, pretty much anytime there's a yes or no question that comes up while you're playing the game. You figure out the likelihood of that being possible, and then you find that... Here, let me do this, because you can't really see it on that, huh? You find the likelihood on this side, right? So impossible, no way, very unlikely, yada yada, and it goes all the way to probably, definitely. And then from there, you go to that column, and you roll on a 2d10, and basically... And it also has the chaos factor, but we'll talk about that later. And then if you roll underneath the middle number on that area, then it's a yes. Underneath, right? Yeah. If you roll underneath the number in the center, it's a yes. If you roll above it, it's a no. And then there are things outside of that where it's like very yes or very no, and that might even change it more. But that's the general vibe of this, and that way you don't have to make decisions as the GM. Which kind of is nice when you have a moment where your players want to do some asinine, insane shit that you would never have thought of. You leave it up to the dice. You know? And then from there, it continues to help you build upon scenes with the action and subject tables. So if, for instance, the characters ask a question about an item that might exist, and you get a yes, and now all of a sudden you have to come up with an item. So you roll 2d10, you roll a d100 twice, and it tells you the kind of vibe of that item, and then you build upon that from there. So if I rolled like a 30, which is the word break, and then I rolled a I don't know, a 52, so which is dispute. So together the vibe of that item would be break dispute. So it's something that off the top of your head you come up with on your own. It might make you think of something completely different that it makes me think, but I am automatically think it's something that brokers peace or allows or helps broker peace between a dispute. There you go. And then you build upon from there. And whether or not you want to include your players in the discussion, that's up to you. But that's what it is meant to do. It is meant to, you know, keep you from getting stuck in your head and not able to, you know, make a decision and really think up. So you just go, give me the book, and then you roll it up, and it's really good for writer's block and things like that. So as we play, if I have something that we come up with that I didn't really figure, and I'm just like, okay, that's a great idea, let's see what the magic numbers say, we can do that. Shit. Maybe not if I drop the fucking book. Hang on, I got it. There we go. We're good. So, that's something to consider while we run. Not too worried about that right now. So yeah. I don't know if I want to start... We have to figure out the history of this place. We have to figure out the history of the Big Bad. That's kind of the main thing. So, you know, a mummy is great. You've already brought up the desert trolls, which is great, and that they can live thousands of years is very, very cool, and something we could lean into. Again, I'm thinking the Magi might be a desert troll, because maybe I was there, you know, kind of thing. So that could be a cool idea, a nice history lesson, lore drop, but that means we gotta figure out the backstory of the Big Bad, of the thing that's going to do all of this stuff. So, hang on. Where is the book? Here we go. This... I do not support giving wizards any more money. I'm going to be completely honest, after the business decisions that they have made. You know, but... Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft is one of my favorite books that they have put out. It's just... It's a great way to handle horror, which, granted, The Mummy is pulpy horror, but it's still horror. So we have to figure out Basically, this book helps you design big bad evil dudes. That's basically what it's for. Plus, their layers, both of which are going to be very, very useful here. So, let's see. I don't know. They might have a desert person or desert setting in here. They have body horror, which the Mummy kind of hits on. Definitely, it's really gross when, like, Imhotep and all that shit kind of wakes up for the first time, and you see his jaw is, like, over here, and he's all desiccated, and even though he's still juicy, as they say in the movie. But it's still, I mean, for me, especially when you find out what was done to Imhotep, is pretty fucking gnarly, and I'd probably be pissed too. So, I'd probably be pissed and come back in a couple thousand years to fuck some shit up. But, body horror is part of it. Let's see. Disaster horror. We've got that with the plagues. Occult detective stories, not really. Yes and no, it's adventure more than anything. Psychological horror and slasher horror. Alright, not any of those specifically, but we have body horror, cosmic horror, dark fantasy, it's getting there. Folk horror, ghost story, and gothic horror are the main ones that they figure at. So, do they have... So they cover, as it says in Rent, the beauty of pure wrathful love. Yeah, exactly. It's like we defend Castlevania's Dracula on here because he did absolutely nothing wrong. Because Wrathful Love is the most fucking true. I fucking love that show so fucking much, and Dracula did nothing wrong. He was correct. Strahd von Zorovich, however, fuck him. He's a douchebag. But Castlevania Dracula, I love lots of those subgenres. Folk horror and cosmic horror are my particular gem. I love folk horror, yes, absolutely. Blair Witch kind of shit. But cosmic horror, I have found, after trying many, many times, it is really hard to do in D&D. At least certainly in 5e. You know, that's why Call of Cthulhu as a system is so great for it, because you're gonna die or go insane by the end, but... really, that doesn't happen as much in D&D. But I respect anyone that tries it. I've tried it several times, and I've had moments where it's just like, I'm uncomfortable. But it never hits quite like, you know, OGs. But I do enjoy I do love cosmic horror when it's done right. It's just one of those things that's really hard to do. I truly believe that it's just hard. It's hard to pull off correctly. You can get close, but... okay. Let's see. So we have to build a domain for our guy. D&D is about big damn heroes. Correct. That's not compatible with cosmic horror. Exactly that. No matter how big your cosmic horror is, your characters, unless they're level 1 to 3, are gods themselves. So it's just like, it's God versus God. This has become Final Fantasy rather than, you know, Call of Cthulhu. So... that's why Call of Cthulhu does such a good job. And a lot of other ones. A lot of other deadly systems do a fantastic job. Alright, so we know Ravenloft, you know, good old-fashioned gothic horror kind of stuff. I don't know if they've ever done... I don't think there is, like, a desert kind of bit. The new Alien TTRPG is pretty great. Really? Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. I heard about it. I'm sure it's fucking deadly as fuck because those movies are amazing. Love the first one. Both the first and second are great, but the first one is fucking awesome. I love the first one. Drama, sweet smelling poisons, and level their tarnishes. Nobles, that's intrigue. We're going a little bit more in your face because one of our 5 characters survived our 4-hour session. Jesus Christ! Wow, nice. I mean, that's the way you do it. I mean, when you're in an alien RPG, yeah, I would say so. Let's see. Borka is not. The Carnival is not what we're going for. Doomed Domain. decadent delusion. Masquerades, decadent aristocracy, social decay. Okay, that's like, 14th century French aristocracy shit. Falcovinia, disaster horror. Total zombies. Nah. Yes, but no. Zombies of a different socioeconomic class, as they say, regarding mummies. Ancient Dead. Here we go. Yes, I knew there was one in here. All right, cool. Dark fantasy. Yes, that's what I was thinking. Great. Yes. So, canopic jar, lapis lazulis, and scrolls of hieroglyphics. The sands of time bury the desert realm of Har Akir. Here the wonders of fallen empires and pyramids of forgotten pharaohs crumble beneath a merciless sun. Untold generations of tombs and secrets lie beneath the sands, markers of a history the land's few residents know of only in story and song. Their interest in past splendor is smothered, as life is harsh in Har Akir. The living only exist only to serve a deathless god king. Alright, turning that down just a bit, we're going pulp, so we gotta go from 11 to like a 6 on the horror. But this is great. This realm of fierce deserts and mysterious monuments is ruled by the mummy Ankhtepat. No point, I hope I'm saying that right. Probably not. Speaker for the gods and immortal pharaoh. From his golden pyramid in the city of the dead, the Dark Lord watches over his domain, careless of the passage of mortal lives as he sends his servants in search of his only remaining desire, his Ka, the missing piece of his fractured soul. As the pharaoh obsesses over his lost treasure and thoughts of escaping his impossibly long undead existence, his servants plague the domain in his name. In hidden tomb courts, withered, animal-headed elder mummies known as the children of Ankhtepat, that's a hard one, man, luxuriate themselves as emissaries of false gods, and in the mud-brick city of Muhar, the priests of morbid gods oversee all aspects of life, apportioning food and blessings to the worthy and punishing blasphemers. But all the pharaoh's servants also pursue his quest to find his mysterious lost treasure, and are ever desperate for some clue or news to placate we gotta say it, that's a bad name, and spare them from the storms of his wrath and his buried legions of the ancient dead. Fucking yes, awesome. Again, we're not going as hardcore horror in this, because pulp, but the thing I love about pulp is, especially when it's horror pulp, is it laughs at the horror parts. Like, there are parts in The Mummy that are legitimately hilarious, like juicy, It's just like the things that they say sometimes, or when Rick yells back at the mummies, even as they like distend their jaws and scream at him, and he goes, "Ah!" and like, that's funny. And like, to laugh at horror is what makes pulp pulp. I think a lot of it is, anyway, pulp horror. So it's fun for me to think about what we could do in that kind of aspect of the game. Let's see. So we have to think... Whoa. Ankhtepat is cool. I know it's not Ankhtepat, but now it's in my head. The art for him is very cool. Check this guy out! He's fucking... It's like Xerxes from 300. That's super cool. Alright. So, the dark powers torment Ankhtepat. Ankhtepat. That's all I keep seeing when I say his name. In one simple, all-encompassing way. They won't let him die. Existence is pain for the pharaoh. He vividly remembers every one of his crimes and understands that his ambitions have sustained his corporeal form for untold lifetimes. He seeks his Ka and rebirth as a mortal, not to prolong his existence, but so his life might finally end. Okay. So in the OG Mummy, the whole thing is that his girlfriend got tortured to death, and he got tortured to death because he fucked the pharaoh's wife. That's basically it. So, I do love a good old-fashioned immortal love kind of revenge story. And I'm here for that, but I want to change up enough of the backstories that we're not just playing through the Mummy, you know what I mean? So, pulling back into the timeline to when the Fae were in charge. The Fae would love fucking like crazy tombs and crazy architecture and stuff. Now, Ta'amun was not a desert at this point. It was like if you saw the terrible, terrible Scorpion King movie, that was real bad. If I remember correctly, the pyramid, the one with like the diamond on top of it, was in like an oasis when he was in it, and then it went in like, and then they fought pygmies. I gotta watch the second one again. It's been a while. It's not as good as the first, but there are good points of it. There are good points. I'm not saying that there isn't, but yeah, it wasn't as good. But regardless, so and I don't even remember the story of the Scorpion King and why he was a thing. Really, I gotta watch that again. Damn. All right. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll set up a movie night. At the very least, me and husband can rewatch the Mummy movies. Because they're very good. I know there's little pygmy guys. I might take bits of the second one as well. Because there are. Is that the one? The pygmy guys that chase after them? That's in the second one, isn't it? Or am I thinking of a totally different movie? I think that's right. Anyway, whatever. And I never saw the third one, even though we own it. I've never watched the third one. Probably should. Because they changed Evie, and I was personally affronted. Because, like, her actress, whom her name escapes me right now, but she and Brendan Fraser were so great together that I was just like, no one else can be Evie. No, I refuse. So, you know, what are you gonna do? Anyway, but I should give it a chance. I really should. I like Pulp. I shouldn't, give him shit just because some bullshit Hollywood stuff happened between actresses. Who knows? Anyway, we'll look at that one, but that's kind of secondary inspiration. Okay. So looking at architecture, I think pyramids could definitely still exist with the Fae. It feels like something some particular type of archfey would definitely do. Not to die in, but as a monument to how awesome they are, basically. So it's not necessarily a tomb, but perhaps it was made one because somebody within was buried there as punishment. Like, underneath it, right? Not necessarily in the pyramid itself, but under it. How would that change things around? If a pyramid was an actual piece of architecture that was used daily, and it wasn't meant to be just some dude's, really cool mausoleum, so there'd be more room. This dungeon is gonna be dope as fuck, first of all. It's not just gonna be, Technically, a lot of tombs and pyramids are really boring because they're like 2-3 rooms, maybe. Maybe if they get a secret one, that's when it gets really exciting. But if we make a pyramid the size of our actual pyramids, but actual living, breathing places that people worked and or lived in, that changes it pretty hardcore. So I'm thinking of, like, your typical pyramid shape, obviously, but, like, with, like, balconies on it, which seems cool in my head. Balconies and porches and staircases. So it's a little more intricate than just, the brick on top of brick. What's our archfey? Who's the pharaoh of this point? You can make an archfey of anything. That's the great part of this stuff. So, let's see. They have the gods in here too, so we have to consider how the pantheon has changed. I mean, I know Galdor was made by Melora, where the other... If this was a time when it was just Melora, that would change how things were worshipped as well, which might also inform the society, at the very least, of what is now Ta'amun. So, okay. Hang on. I'm gonna mark that page, because That's awesome. Where is Dark Fantasy? Here we go. Nope, went too far. Ghost Stories, Folk Horror, Dark Fantasy. Here we go. Alright. Dark Fantasy villains. We already have kind of the general idea. Torments. So, in the way you make a Dark Lord and his, you know, his Shadow Realm or whatever the fuck it's called, he's, the Dark Lord is meant to be under some eternal torment. For instance, for the Dark Lord's regime is fraught with spies and saboteurs, increasing his paranoia. Worthless sycophants surround the Dark Lord, their incessant praise making success hollow. Dark Lord's incredible power uncontrollably damages everything the Dark Lords care for. Others excessively revere or fear the Dark Lord, leaving the Dark Lord isolated. Imagined or remembered rivals endlessly critiqued the Dark Lord, causing them doubt. Society preemptively celebrates an achievement the Dark Lord will never be able to provide. The Dark Lord seeks the pleasure of lost glories, engaging in hollow contests against unworthy foes. And the Dark Lord manufactures catastrophes and to distract from their inability to fulfill their role. Okay. So, Imhotep was a priest in the original Mummy movie. So we could take bits of this write-up on this other... What's this land called again? Har-Akir. Ha-Akir. And make it a pharaoh. So, a pharaoh. A fey pharaoh. So... all pharaohs kind of suffered from this I'm the best, fuck you kind of vibe. So we can definitely call to that. I'm just trying to think of how to punish him, because if it's just Melora at this point in Galdor, then she might, but she wouldn't, unless he did something really fucked up, she wouldn't punish him like that. So it would be one of the other gods. Was it the Raven Queen is the next one. She's kind of the other, boss lady. If this is before the split off, that could inform some history there. And, mummification would kind of match her vibe, honestly. She'd probably be interested in that kind of treatment of the dead bodies, necromancy, that kind of thing. Alright, so... what did this... we already know the Fae can't die, so that's not exactly what... Maybe it's his fault the desert started here. Maybe he's the one that... he went too excessive with his, his balls, his parties, his expenditures. He started mistreating his subject. Okay, that's simple. That would be enough to piss off Melora, enough that she goes cries to her sister, and the Raven Queen shows up and goes, "Bitch, you made my sister cry, I'm gonna fucking chokeslam you, and also desiccate your corpse." So good times all are had by all. Okay. But he needs something that brings him back. That's the whole vibe here. Sounds like Eldar origins. Yeah, that's true. Take some inspiration from that. Okay. So Broseph, whatever Pharaoh, he got too big for his britches. He wanted to be the first God King on Galdor. Maybe this is what eventually led to Melora doing what she did, but because Archfey love to press that shit. They love to... their sense of morality is different. That's always been the case. If you're completely immortal, you have no reason to be good. That kind of, eventually you'll get, if you look at any reference to Dorian Gray, he gets fucked up in the head because he's immortal. So if you last long enough, you're gonna become fucked up. That's kind of the vibe. Either you die the hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, kind of vibes, okay? So this Archfey got too big for his britches and started mistreating his subjects, demanding worship, and treating himself like a god king. Okay, so we're taking a little bit of Xerxes in there as well. Because, God, would I love to punch Xerxes in the face, because he drove me nuts in 300, honestly. Okay. I like this so far. So, let's see. There's a lot of torments here that could work. So Xerxes can't stand the fact later on that he's obsessed with the idea that he's a god and he cannot be killed, and that's why when Leonidas throws his spear and he just cuts him, it's a big deal. Even though he doesn't fucking kill him, it damages his, you know, his facade, his belief, his everything. So, big-ass cult leader to the point of Pharaoh built this pyramid thing to house his badassery and his courts and everything. And there's an ad. Okay, I'll be right back. God damn it. Okay. Also could look into Necron lore. Yeah, we could take some inspiration from them. They're the kind of Egyptian themed faction in 40k, true. So, for a guy like this who wanted to become the first god king, Xerxes, what would be an eternal torment for him? There's a lot of directions that could go. If he's already... His torment is basically... Is it dying over and over? Is it staying aware while you're dead? Like, I'm trying to think of, like, maybe this is the Raven Queen's first overstep into Galdor, and eventually this is what led to what Galdor is now, and what the Pantheon is now. Hello, how are you? I'm gonna call you Striker, sir, or madam, or they, whomever you are, but welcome in. Thank you for the first time chat. We're doing some initial thought form ideas for a stream, hopefully streamed game in the future between me and my husband based around the 1999 Mummy movie, which is one of my favorites. Turn vanity against him, mirrors everywhere, watch himself rot. Ooh, that's good. Okay, again, he was super hot, and so we're doing a Dorian Gray kind of thing. That's good. Okay. So, but then, okay, so he basically goes into torpor then, and then something happens that these characters do to wake him up. You know, no harm ever came from reading a book. Something like the Book of the Dead, but it's not going to be the Book of the Dead. Something else. Something Raven Queen inspired, because we got to add her in a little bit more. We got to build upon her story and kind of give that kind of background lore, because it's interesting. Okay. So Raven Queen pissed off is definitely not somebody you want to fuck with. Especially when she's had to watch her sister suffer. Give him what he wants. He does get to be a god, but the prayers of too many people is too much for his mind. That's good. That's good. Okay. So he's like constantly aware of what everybody is thinking of him. Therefore, A, he's going nuts. B, he's judged constantly, because, let's be honest, any god that you believe in or don't believe in, you judge pretty hardcore, because technically, as beliefs go, God has the power to do a lot of shit that they decide not to do. Man, y'all whiny. Yeah. Fucking Bruce Almighty, where there's just all these people praying in his head. Okay. So he has worshippers. So, based upon the people, and the people that worshipped him are also being punished, let's be honest. So he's surrounded by his cult of worshippers in this place forever. So does he just go to sleep? And then the characters come along and force him to get the fuck up? Is that the vibe? What did he do to finally, I mean, not necessarily get rest, but to break away from it and not be a consistent threat? We need something that broke between this Fae history to quote-unquote current 1926. We need the ancient Egyptian part, and then we need the 1926 part of the story, of the backstory. So, did it happen because Raven Queen left the Pantheon, so she didn't have as much power here? So maybe that's it. So he did die, quote-unquote. But she didn't take his soul. Okay, so Raven Queen has to take souls of the dead to wherever they're going to be resting. She refused. Now I'm thinking of like Raven-based Fae shit, and I'm very excited. I'm gonna watch The Crow again, too. God, that new one looks dog water. Anyway, I'm not gonna get distracted. Okay, so he died, but his soul is still here. So his soul is separated from his body. So the characters find his body first. That's kind of the initial whatever. Maybe he got locked up in a sarcophagus that kind of separated his soul from his body. So he's this living spirit that haunts this place. His cult got slaughtered, so now he's fine but got no power. Also true. So this, whatever the characters do to wake him back up or bring his soul back into his body or whatever, would that reawaken his worshippers? Or would they need to be... Because in the Mummy, Imhotep's got all these, you know, these other mummies that do his bidding. Some of them are more powerful than others. Some of them are guards. Some of them are other priests. That kind of thing. So we could definitely just grab those guys and kind of just tie it all together, where once this pharaoh guy gets back up, he has control over his worshippers. So maybe he's not as powerful, but he has to do something. Like in the Mummy, he has to claim all the canopic jars, right? That all of the Americans took because they found them first. Shame for them, because once followers, but quietly, right? So we can take the canopic jar idea. And I do plan on having a rival adventuring company in the story as well. So they're going to be the ones that kind of have to get fucked up by the pharaoh. Okay. So I don't think it's traditional mummification, though. I think when the Raven Queen refused to take his soul away, let's pull Voldemort into it, and his soul was broken up across various objects. It's not parts of him physically, it's parts of his soul. And that's what he has to claim to reclaim his power. Okay? Cool. Like it. Good. So through a bunch of jewelry or, a crown, whatever it is, maybe he has a crown that's like nailed to his head, like that's part of, like it's formed to his skull, that kind of shit. We're going a little horror with this one. Galdor is not going to be as nice in this area. Ta'amun's a little bit more hardcore than Arcadia. So we're gonna, we're gonna go a little horror with it. So the coziness is going to take a back seat, kind of. Even though The Mummy is a very cozy movie, but not in the way in the way that good triumphs over evil because I said so. Even though it has no fucking right to. Okay. So his soul was broken up and put into objects. This other rival adventuring company that is working against our main characters finds this jewelry hoard first. They each claim a part of it for themselves, and then they start getting fucked up. So they move from Tomb to, what is, I think it's Cairo in the movie. They actually leave the City of the Dead. Sand not so cozy, of course, gets everywhere. Ugh. 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 I hate that fucking movie. Anyway. Does the Pharaoh guy have a boat? He should have a boat. A boat that travels on sand? That's cool. Or do we want to do a Nile? I was planning in Ta'amun to have a Nile proxy. But we could also do like a Moon Knight kind of travels over sand thing. We gotta oh my god, we can rewatch Moon Knight as well for this. This is research. This Moon Knight is so fucking good. Oh my god, it's so good. That's the best thing Marvel's ever done. That I will die on that fucking hill. Moon Knight is the best thing that Marvel has ever done. Okay. As far as movies go, I'm not a comics person. I really love Moon Knight. Me too. Oscar Isaac is, oh my god, he's so cute. He's such a good actor. The effects were good. It was all good. The costuming, the characterization, everything. I have no notes on Moon Knight, and that is rare for Disney stuff, let's be honest. Okay. So that's another thing we can reference. I'll watch Moon Knight again because it is so fucking good. Oh, that could be a character we could reference. Do we want him as one of the... We could reference Moon Knight for the rogue character. Boats are super important for Egyptians. Yeah. So we have a Nile proxy that goes by this other city that eventually they all flee to after accidentally waking up the pharaoh. Okay, so then we have plagues. This is really exciting, okay? So... Okay. I don't want to go entirely Egyptian plagues, as cool and fucking metal as they are. I want to, turn it more towards, fantasy, fae, and Raven Queen inspired plagues. So I don't think it's necessarily him controlling it, but like a plague, what's the relation between the Pharaoh guy and the PCs? Sorry, I'm new here. No, it's fine. So the Pharaoh guy, this happened hundreds of years before the PCs, right? So if you have seen the 1999 Mummy movie, that is what we're doing. If you haven't seen it, fix that because it's a great movie. Anyway, so the PCs are the ones that accidentally reawaken the pharaoh who's been dead for hundreds or thousands of years, however long it's been. And then they have to fight the pharaoh guy and put him back in the ground, basically. Okay. So, instead of him, like, kind of controlling the plagues, which I think is kind of what was happening in the movie, I don't know, it's not really clear, it's just something that happens as he woke up. So, each piece of jewelry that he reclaims, another plague happens. Maybe that's what was happening in the Mummy, and as he got canopic jars, more plagues happened. Because I don't want to do boils and sores, because that's fucked. We're already kind of going hardcore. With a lot of the horror aspects. Even though it's pulp, it's still going to be less cozy than our normal Galdor stuff. So we want to keep it, magical, not gross, So I'm thinking instead of like plagues of locusts, you get plagues of ravens. Because let's be honest, that would fuck up a city for a while. It would blot out the sun. It would, crows and ravens are extremely intelligent, and that would fuck with people. That kind of cool stuff. I don't know if we're gonna blot out the sun kind of stuff. Like, as in the eclipse, not the ravens. But the Raven Queen, if this is part of his torment, I could see everybody being blinded, so they can't see him and worship him. That could be a punishment. Not the PCs, maybe everybody else. I don't know. We'll see. Because in the ravens blocking out the sun is pretty damn awesome in imagery. Yeah, just this woof. Or like rock-sized ravens. Like, how fucking badass would that be? So we're doing a little bit of Barovia. I love the Raven Queen, me too. I made her kind of the main. I basically made her Hades in my pantheon, where she's kind of misunderstood, but she's not a bad person. She's just doing her fucking job. It just happens to be the thing that involves death. So, you know, people are gonna be shitty. What if the plagues are meant to stop him from progressing, but due to magic stuff, he manages to control it and turn it around? Oh, thank you for the follow, Striker. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, that's okay. So instead of him being responsible for the plagues, it's the Raven Queen kind of sweeping the plagues across to try to slow him down. And it's important enough to her that she may be endangering the mortals that are now living in this place. So, okay. I like it. I like that. That's a great idea, Striker. Okay. So, we've got ravens. That'll fuck up, that'll keep everybody in their house. Because if you get a fucking plague amount of ravens, you're gonna stay in your damn house. Because that's scary. Oh, what about were-ravens? We have were-ravens in this world. Oh, fuck. Okay, so instead of the sun getting blocked out, both of the moons of Galdor go and stay full, and were-ravens start, like, popping up just randomly, because the Raven Queen says, fuck you. They're my worshippers now. Like, that's the form that a lot of Raven Queen worshippers get blessed with. So once they're worshipping her, they can't worship him. So okay, so that's one. Okay, ooh, she's basically doing scorched earth tax a little bit. Again, this could be the first time that she kind of, like, the Pharaoh himself was the first time she really overstepped her bounds, and maybe this is the first time since she got put in the Dark Pantheon, the Grim Pantheon, to the first time she stepped back out up to here and said, no, I did this and we're not going to break what I did. They become clerics and paladins trying to wear him down, like the Jackal army in the second Mummy movie. Oh, yes! I love that. Oh my god, just bird-headed people. That's very Egyptian anyway, except it was hawks with them, but you know, or ibis. So, okay, this is fucking awesome. That way we could have at least one of the characters become a were-raven, which would be badass, let's be honest. Maybe we should make them one of them a cleric of the Raven Queen. That would be cool. Hi, Eek! We're going crazy right now. We have so many ideas. Were-ravens and Galdor having 2 moons is stuff I didn't know for some reason. I feel incredibly invested in the lack of context. That's fair. That's fair. That's a lot to go through right now. But basic ideas. Basic ideas. Okay, the world is a tree. Not even kidding. We're doing a flat world. That is, the top of it is the main setting. Which is, here, let me show you the map. Look at this as if you're looking down onto a tree. Like the rounded top of a tree. And babe, husband, what was the name of that tree? Dragon's blood tree? We finally found a tree. I think somebody already mentioned this, but just for reference. No, tree, not... There we go. Hang on. Okay, so this is the kind of tree that Galdor is. Let me find the best picture that I can find. That's okay. So, that's bonsai dragon tree shape. Yeah, take this main tree shape and then mix it with bonsai. That's the shape of the world. The top is Earth, quote-unquote Earth, where most people live. The bottom is the Underdark, or as it's known here, is the Evershade. The celestial bodies, the sun and the 2 moons, are within a larger tree because all of the planets and the planes of this world are in a garden. And each god has a plot within the garden of a world that they have control of, right? So the big celestial tree holds the sun and the moons. And so there's 2 moons because I said so. And now we can call like the moons like the Raven Queen's eyes or something. I'm gonna have to like come up with some poetry to spout off in character because like as the plagues are happening in the Mummy, Jonathan recites the Bible verses having to do with each of the plagues, which will be really, really fun. Okay, so I'm gonna have to re-listen to this whole stream again here soon because I'm not writing any of this down, so thank you guys for listening to me ramble and get excited. This is how world building happens with me. I can never write it down, I have to talk it out. So I appreciate you guys dealing with my, you know, always sunny's in Philadelphia crazy person wall. It is trees all the way down, absolutely. Okay, so we've got the moons taking up the sky, both full, which in turn causes were-ravens. The sun does not re-enter anything until he is dealt with. Then we've got the plague of actual ravens. So, I think were-ravens have an innate ability to be able to control crows and ravens. So it's going to be moons, were-ravens, then plague of ravens. Okay? What else? In the movie, they turn water into blood, and boils and sores, which is great. With the were-raven thing is basically taking place of the boils and sores. Main campaign, Cozy Witchy Stardew Valley D&D, side storyline, Mummy-inspired prequel story, yes. Can the 2 moons get in the way of each other? Nope. That sounds like a neat eclipse scenario. No, they cannot. They're actually, the story and the truth of the matter is they are 2 fruits of the, well, I guess they could eclipse each other. I don't see why not. No, yeah, they can because they have to be able to yeah. No, but basically they're fruits of the tree, of the celestial tree, not Galdor. Of the celestial tree, they're fruits, and like their phases, instead of them being covered up by shadow, it's Melora eating the fruit slowly. So that's the general vibe of that. But yeah, I like the idea of the 2 moons being full, and therefore the Raven Queen is like looking down at Galdor until they fix their fuck up, basically, is how I'm seeing it. And it's also only in the lands of Egypt. It specifically says that in the movie, and specifically says that in the Bible. So all of this is centered around Ta'amun, and it doesn't happen anywhere else. False and new moons as well, also true. I'm getting all excited. Okay, okay. What other plagues would stop him from getting power? Let's see. He turns water into blood. Moonworm. What would be the equivalent of turning water into blood? I'm thinking, if you guys haven't seen The Prince of Egypt, even if you're not a faith-based, religious person, that movie is fucking beautiful. And I'm just thinking about the people, like, going through the river and then it's turning into blood and they're freaking out. Oh man, that movie's fucked up. It's a great movie, but it's fucked up for when you're, like, 7 watching it or whatever. It's a fucked up movie. Okay. Okay. What else? Maybe this has something. Hang on, let me see. Magical pollution. No, that's not what I'm going for. No. Another plague could be ravens causing lands to go barren by eating all the fruits. Yeah, that was kind of the part of the plague of ravens part anyway. So that, yeah, that's definitely going to be part of the plague itself. So, people are starving, they're not going to worry about bringing you tribute because you're a god king trying to get his people back. Let's see. What else would the Raven Queen do if she was pissed? Uh, oh God. Oh my God, excuse me, sorry. It's starting to get rainy here, so now I'm getting all sleepy. Instead of food, they could steal wealthy mass magpie style. No tribute. Okay, what if all jewelry? Because if his soul is like, Voldemorted out into pieces like the Horcruxes, what if all jewelry becomes tarnished? So no pretties, no shiny, no coin, nothing works. You can't buy anything or trade anything for that matter. And we're already worried about crops. You can't trade crops because everything's getting eaten or fucked up by ravens. Now you can't trade shinies, so the entire economy is fucked until this is fixed. Could be part of it. What other, like, I don't know if I want to do, what if water stops running? All water becomes stale and, like, vampires start running around or something. Vampires could be part of that. Well, that might be putting too many things on top of each other. But instead of vampires, we could do revenants of the Raven Queen. That could be another character that comes in later. That could be cool. Because that's kind of the whole vibe. Okay. Alright, so that's a good list to start out with for now. This is like slowly becoming a survival campaign. So, alright. So moving away from the plagues. Now we need something... Okay. So the characters do something to wake this guy back up or to bring his soul and his body back together. What is that? In the movie, they read from the Book of the Dead and wake him up. What is it that they do in the tomb that wakes this fucker up? I mean, we could do the book, but that seems a little, if the movie did it, I don't want to, directly copy off of it, but also it's a good way of, like, ritual and spell incantation, that kind of stuff always has a good place for scary stuff to happen. I mean, look at Evil Dead. They just played it in a fucking tape recorder, and, and then the fucking Deadites come and start fucking shit up. So... what would the Raven Queen not notice? As, like, whether or not it was on purpose or not, so there's some sort of backup that is there to wake him. She left, he went to sleep. What wakes him back up if she's not around yet? She only comes back around after he's awake. So there needs to be something of enough power. Maybe calling on to one of the other gods? Hang on, let me go to my gods. No, you're under cosmology. My bad. There we go. Gods. There we go. So we've got... where's our goddess of entropy... loneliness, loss, and paranoia is Moander. How about there being a song engraved on the tomb and then a modern person plays it wrong and that breaks the spell or something? Okay, music could be something. That's very Goonies. I like that. Some sort of spell. Or, yeah. The music isn't bad as long as we have a bard character to do that. It needs to... we need to figure out the characters first, maybe. Because we need to figure out their, like, weaknesses. Or their interests to make them make stuff happen. That's kind of the whole vibe. Because Evie can't control herself, so she reads out of a book. Because she's a librarian that loves ancient Egyptian, and she's the only person that can read it in 100 miles. That's the whole thing. So, taking that idea and giving the character... some sort of curiosity weakness that just can't leave stuff alone. That's gonna kind of inform what needs to be done to wake this dude up. Because the song idea is good, but I don't know if it goes along with the rest of of the character of the Pharaoh. Okay, let's figure out the Pharaoh. I think we need to start with the big bad evil guy. And then we go from there. Okay. Here. Okay, whoops. Alright, I'm actually gonna start writing shit down. Alright, so Archfey Pharaoh. I did not spell that right. Pharaoh. How do I spell Pharaoh? Pharaoh? Yeah. Right? I don't know. Something like that. Archfey Pharaoh, Set. Let's say themselves, because I don't know if they're male or female at this point. Themselves, or maybe they don't even have a gender anymore, because they've rotted enough that it doesn't matter. Set themselves up as a god, king, and there's an ad, goddammit. In the time of the Fae. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Alright. So, I need to go to my bad guy Pinterest board. Hang on. Okay. Pinterest is really driving me crazy. Maybe if the reason he goes to sleep is that his worshippers disappear, then part of the reason they get brought back is because the PCs say his name for the first time in hundreds of thousands of years. Easier to pick a condition to awaken them if they have a solid reason he's sleeping. That's true. Okay, so the Raven Queen didn't wipe him out, she wiped out his followers. And then maybe, like, encased him in the... So that's why the pyramid became a tomb. Instead of the living, breathing architecture that it once was, when he made it, she cursed him to wander the empty halls within the monument he made for his own power. That's a pretty good fucking punishment, I would say. So he wandered and she wouldn't let him die. Then she had to, through shenanigans that are in the timeline that we'll talk about later, she had to move to the Grim God Pantheon to lead them. So once she left, he became mortal. Still wandering and trapped in this place, by the way. So he starved to death, or thirsted to death, or something. Some terrible fate that took a very, very long time to happen. Then, when he did die, she, instead of taking his soul to rest, she split his soul from his body and made his soul wander as his body had once done. Pretty fucking gnarly... yeah, that's great. Okay, I like that. I like it. Okay. So... Cool. Alright, that's a great idea. Thank you, Striker. What's a Necrocar? Necrocore? That's in Volos. Where's Volos? Hang on, I gotta find my books. Mordenkainen's, Xanarthars, Ehal. Volo's in here? Volo, here we go. What's a Necrocore? Because that sounds cool, and it sounds like the vibe we're going for. A lot of undead in here. Oh, VGR. That's not Volo's. What is that? Oh, it's in Van Richten's guide. Durr. I saw VG, and I immediately thought it was Volo's. Alright, Necrocore. Oh! Oh. A being of living blood. Formed from the ichor of evil gods or the sludge in the crypts of failed liches. Gross. You got a good old-fashioned Nosferatu. Loop Guru. Zhengxi. Grimishka. Gallows Speaker. Gallows Speakers arise from places of mass death and sites where creatures regularly meet their doom. Pain-racked phantoms and lingering souls combined into an entity that knows death in myriad forms. He's juicy. It's juicy, not sticky, but also accurate, probably. Gross. Having known untold deaths, Gallows Speakers can predict suffering, foreseeing dooms leveled against them and overwhelming their foes with visions of innumerable violent deaths. Doulahan. Carrion Stalker. Carrionet. Boneless is the most disgusting fucking thing in Van Richten's guide, dude. Star Spawns. Sturgoi. Olmist Inquisitors. Oh, they're psychic. Interesting. Might have to look for this for ideas for subclasses too, because there's the Wayravens. Okay. Yeah, I knew they were in here somewhere. I love how one's just called the Unspeakable Horror. Like, that's what it's called. We can't speak of it, but here's its name. Okay. Dark Bargains. Oh, they only have subclasses for Bard and Warlock in here, so that's not going to be really relevant. Anyway. Alright. So, creating a Dark Lord. We already got the general idea of him, which is great. Let's see what other details we can hammer out here. So, there we go. Past life, we've already been talking about that. So, douchebag thought he could fucking, play with the big boys, and it didn't work. For each favored personal characteristic, imagine and write down its opposite. Maybe one of the PCs gets given a gift by someone, and then that gift is one of the pieces of his soul or something. Yeah, we need to figure out the key that they get in the beginning of the movie. So when they get to the Pharaoh, they accidentally give him one of those pieces' souls back. No, that's great. No, that works with the whole idea of the movie and what we're going for. Okay. No, that's fantastic. That's perfect. Yeah, so the Raven Queen, shoved his soul into a bunch of jewelry or items or whatever, and then scattered them across, Ta'amun, or maybe all of Galdor, who knows. Probably just Ta'amun. If we do a Ta'amun, that means it's gonna be a multiple dungeon, multiple thing campaign. So it could extend it. Because in the movie, they just find the canopic jars buried in the City of the Dead. But if we make it so the Raven Queen scattered them all, they would have to chase the Pharaoh down as he finds each one. Or maybe they're all just in the city. Like, over time, they've all collected back to... Oh, there's a museum! Oh! Hell yeah! Okay, yes. Okay, so there's a museum that is... Inadvertently, they don't realize it. They just know they're super old. So there's a museum that has connected all of the or has collected all of the pieces basically, and they're missing that one piece. And okay, all right, hang on. They're missing the one piece. Okay. It's messing with the timeline of the movie, so I have to figure out if I want to stick with the movie timeline or if I have to kind of change it around a bit, because in the movie they find all the canopic jars in the tomb of the mummy, and then they go back to the city, and then the mummy chases them to the city to get the canopic jars back, and then they have to go back to the city of the dead to fuck up the mummy, right? Because he kidnaps Evie and all that bullshit. So instead, if we make a museum that exists in this city, maybe we could take some relics and rarities inspiration and make them all work for the at least in part, I guess. I could also see the Pharaoh's Pyramid being sort of non-Euclidean, so it's bigger on the inside than it looks. Yes, absolutely. Raven Queen would extend it to fill it with even more reminders of his failure or whatever, which would be great. Okay. So maybe that's what brings the characters together, is they're all hired by the museum. Oh, do I want to do that? I guess we could. I mean, that would simplify bringing the party together rather than like running around and trying to, you know, break the O'Connell proxy out of prison like they do in the movie. So instead, it's relics and rarities where they all work for the curator, who's a big character in the movie. They work for the curator, and now they have all of the pieces except one. And is that where they get the key? Rather than the actual item itself? Maybe there is one piece of the jewelry, or whatever it is, still in that area, but the others were scattered. Again, so the piece that stays with him is the piece that his soul that wanders and is punished is connected to, so one of the pieces has to stick with the body. Because that's what's okay, yes. That necklace, or whatever it is, keeps his soul from re-entering his body, so the characters grab it to claim it for it, and then the minute it's off the body, his soul can come in, and it reawakens him. Yes? Maybe? Does that make sense? I like it. It sounds good in my head. That sounds like it would match the kind of pacing of everything. Okay. I like that. Alright, fatal flaws of the Dark Lord, which is, you know, what they call the general bad guys here. Oh, hang on. Ooh, they say you could use a Taroka deck or a tarot. I could see it being a crown. That's good. Yeah, that's the final insult. Where she's like, you want to be a king, bitch? This is the thing that's going to keep you from being whole for eternity, because fuck you. I like that. Yeah, a crown is good. I like that a lot. Okay, detailed... Proceed the deck in this chapter. Take down... We could... They say use a tarot deck to figure out your bad guy, which is fun. But we have kind of an idea. The Soul Warding Seal. Ooh. The Soul Ward... What's another name for a crown? Soul Warding... Hang on. Word, Hippo, save me. This is a great site if you ever need a thesaurus. Chaplet, coronal, diadem, garland, circlet, soul warding circlet? It's alright. Wreath, headband, circle, soul warding circle. It's kind of basic. Swath. Laurel, drape, baize, decoration. Soul Warding Seal could definitely be what's in it. I like that. Maybe that is what it's called. I don't see why. Okay. Alright. Wow. Alright, cool. So, we've got our big bad evil guy and what he did, and who's punishing him. We've got what the characters are gonna end up doing to waken him back up. Then they run back to the museum to tell the museum what's happening. They have to beat a fucking mummy there, which is a whole thing. So the rival company, Soul Warding Facet. Facet? Because it's Egyptian crowns. Facet? Is it Facet or Nemesh? I like Nemesh. Then something with N. Soul Warding Facet or Soul Warding Nemesh. I like Nemesh. Maybe that's his name. Nemesh? I like Nemesh as a name. Maybe that's what he renamed himself. And then a Soul Warding Facet is his thing. The item. Nemesh is a cool name. Okay. So they have to race back to the city, whatever it is. And maybe the rival dudes who are the ones to remove the necklace, let's be honest. So the museum hires 2 groups of adventurers to go get this thing. Why? Because reasons. Maybe one group fucked him over, or they don't trust him to, maybe they're new, that kind of thing, so they send a backup. Egyptian crown names. Oops. Help if I could type. Crowns of Egypt. Oh, Atef, Deshret, Hedjet, Kapresh, rather. Pescient. Okay, those are cool. Atef. These are probably really annoying and painful to wear, you know? The Soul Warding Hedjet. Rearing Cobra. I'm looking at the animals. The components, rather. Pharaohs and their Horus. New Kingdom Pharaohs, Egyptian kings. Okay. The Crown of Osiris. Atef. Atef of Soul Warding is pretty cool. Okay, alright. Yeah, well, we'll design that item in another, at another time. Probably Wednesday's stream. But maybe we'll make characters that day. Okay. So, the museum hires 2 groups of adventurers to go get this thing from the tomb of Nemesh or whatever. So they both go. Our characters get distracted. Maybe they get stuck in a dungeon, that kind of thing, or another part of the dungeon. The rival characters are the one to find said thingy. Upon taking it off of him, his soul immediately shunts back into his body. You know, big roar, just like in the movie. They all go, oh fuck, we gotta run. Then the characters come out of the dungeon where they were kind of stuck dealing with shenanigans. They gotta fight off maybe a bunch of minor mummies. They see the rivals running. Maybe they don't realize the big mummy guy is awake yet. So they think they found it, and they go, ah fuck, alright, well let's go. So, you know, the rival company beats them to the city by like a day, and the rival company gets to the city. The Pharaoh, the Mesh, or whatever we're gonna name him, we'll figure that out later. He still isn't at full power, so he's still slow, so they actually have time. If the 2 companies are going after the same dude, perhaps they should each have half the set, so the rival agency has some And the PCs has some. It's not two companies, it's both the same museum, because the museum already has the full set. And the set is not leaving the museum because they're museum pieces. What they need from them is to find the last set, so they hire two companies to kind of divide and conquer and look through, kind of, they split up the dig site basically between two rival companies, and whoever finds it first, wins a bonus or whatever. And then from there, rival company wakes them up, they run, freaking out, and then the other characters see them running and they don't realize they're running for their lives. They think they just found the thing. So they head back to the city. By the time they get back to the museum has already broken up the other pieces of this and hid them, or they're trying to get them out of the city to get them away from Big Bad. But Big Bad comes in. Mama Raven Queen gets pissed off, starts the plagues, and shuts down this city. I guess. She wants to keep them inside. She wants to keep the Pharaoh guy from escaping. Maybe... Can he only travel in sunlight? Is that why she blocks out and makes the moons take over? Maybe he can only travel in sunlight and she can fully travel in moonlight. Again, we're referencing some Moon Knight shit. So she has full power in the moonlight. So she, does basically what Moon Knight does and fucking turns back the sky and goes, fuck you. We're staying nighttime until you figure this out. But the guy, they don't get out in time, the rival company, and the mummy kills each of them one by one. And again, there's probably going to be some Patsy character like Benny from the movie that we'll figure out later. And so it doesn't like the word MILF. So stupid. Raven MILF says, fuck that one particular city. Kind of, a little bit. Yeah, Mama Raven Queen is pissed. Okay. So, the were-ravens, the plagues, everything is keeping everybody inside this city for one reason or another. Then, bad guy gets each part of it. And I see it like, we have the crown, and then the minute, he can't wear the crown until he has another piece. And he puts, on a necklace, or, those really cool, collars that, pharaohs wore. He puts that on, and then he can put his crown on. And then it becomes, he has to have that, he has to have the little scepters that I don't know what they're called. I'll look up all the terminology for these. I do like the idea he's weak to cold, so he can only travel in blazing heat, hence infinite night. There you go. Awesome. Love that. Yeah. So that's how it starts until he gets back to full power. So, I really like that. That's great. So, yeah, it's not so much that he can't travel in cold, but he's very slow in cold. So, slowly but surely, more like a typical zombie. If you've ever watched the original Mummy with no, not Karloff. Yes, Karloff. Karloff? Boris Karloff. Yeah. It's so boring, because it's so slow. So, referencing that a little bit, he's super slow, but he can't be stopped. So he just walks at your ass. You can't get out of the city because Raven Queen said so, until this shit is locked down. She's mad. Raven Queen is too mad to think about the logistics of things, maybe. She goes, oh, I didn't think about the whole thing of trapping him in there with his bits of power. Maybe the crown is meant to stop your soul from being taken. Since he had no soul, it works backwards and keeps his soul out. Okay, so once he gets another piece of the set of, his bit of his soul, then he can put the crown back on. And then he claims each thing. He has, the scepter, the little crook thing. They had two of them, I think. I gotta look them up. And then, the neck thing, the crown, maybe some, I mean, the sandals were always super cool. Maybe it's like a whole outfit thing of like his original clothing he put in himself as the God King. So again, thinking of Xerxes and his whole badass out, like lack of outfit really, because he was mostly naked, but it was still badass. Yeah, so he gets one by one, he kills the rival company, gets his bits back and slowly puts them back together. He gets to full power, thus is no longer locked in by Raven Queen's whatever she does to keep him locked in. So he can go back to the city of the dead, reclaim his worshippers. Maybe they were all buried with him. If she wiped him out and just for punishment she put them in there and didn't take their souls either, so they've been kind of trapped in these mummified bodies. So he can reawaken his worshippers, so that's a whole fucking thing. And then he's doing some ritual. Maybe he has to do one final thing to come to full power. Whatever that is. Maybe some sort of sacrifice. I mean, in the movie, again, he kidnaps Evie. That's the whole thing, because he's trying to reawaken his dead girlfriend. That's what he's trying to do. So we need something like that, that there's this final thing that he's trying to do that will bring him back to power. Maybe he needs a queen, that kind of thing. Whether or not it's not that he loves, he wants to find love, it's more that he needs somebody to, like, share with it. So if somebody, I don't know, when he gets full power, the opposite happens, and now it's never night. Yeah, that would be something that would definitely happen, this blazing hot sun, that everybody has to fucking deal with. He just needs one more ritual, one more thing he has to do, and that the characters have to stop. Okay. Ooh, okay. So, bad guy goes to his tomb, right? Now the characters have to go to a forgotten tomb, well, not tomb, a forgotten temple that's like buried in the sands of the Raven Queen. That's pretty dope. So they have to claim something from the Raven Queen's temple that will put that bitch... Yeah, the Pharaoh tries to romance one of the NPCs. Yeah, I'm thinking that. Something along the lines of that. But then the only way to shut him down is through something of the Raven Queen's making or doing or something. So they have to go to this temple of the Raven Queen. Sorry for the in and out bullshit. I'm out and about today. No, it's okay, it's okay. So, what did I miss? A lot, to be completely honest, because I've been standing and rambling this whole time. We've been figuring out stuff. Hopefully on Wednesday's stream I can kind of take it all and condense it into something that makes sense. So, the characters, unable to stop bad guy now that he's at full power, they have to go to a temple of the Raven Queen to get a thing. I'll watch the VOD. Yeah, great. I'll start uploading right after we get finished here, which I should be finishing. I'll go for a little bit longer, but I'll finish here soon, probably within the next half hour or so. But so they go to a temple of the Raven Queen. They have to find a MacGuffin or a person or something. What if the leader of the museum that hires the PCs is a descendant of his, and he needs to sacrifice her to get his power back? Ooh, yes! Threatening the NPC, especially the boss character? Striker, you're good at this! Thank you. God, you're good at this. Okay. Yes, I love this. Hello, Wolf Ombre. Umber or Umbre? Either one. Hello, Wolf. Welcome in. We are figuring out a adventure that me and my husband will be streaming later down the line once I get a better mic, based on the 1999 Mummy movie, which is one of my favorites. Just Wolf. Got it. Thank you. So we're figuring the ins and outs of that. So I like that. So yes, bad guy kidnaps the boss lady to, end his line, and he's the one that's gonna live on, whatever. Cool. Awesome. Love that. So he has to be willing to destroy the legacy that has become of him, as in blood, to reclaim his power and hold it all within himself, become immortal again, and become the God King that he always wanted to be. Okay. Oh my god. Hell yeah. That's fucking awesome. I can't wait. It kind of sucks that I'm planning this out for myself because I wish I could be surprised by this. But, you know, what are you gonna do? So, he kidnaps her. They can't get into his tomb now because he's full power. He's gonna lock that shit down and he's gonna start the ritual. Maybe the ritual has to take place during a certain, you know, planetary alignment or something. So we'll figure that out later. Blah, blah, blah. So the characters have to go to a tomb, or I keep saying tomb, a temple of the Raven Queen to find a MacGuffin or something that will allow them to get through his defenses and to stop the ritual. Stops the ritual, probably get some treasure, Bob's your uncle, credits. And there's an ad! Amazing timing. I'll be right back. Mm. Maybe the moon's doing eclipse, like you said. Yes, exactly. Like something that doesn't happen a lot in this world, because eclipses don't generally happen in the way that we understand them. There are two moons, but they're pretty much more or less kind of in the same place, so they don't overlap each other necessarily. So something happens with them that they move in a way that isn't normal. I don't know what yet. We'll figure it out. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's our outline. I'm sweaty. It's hot in here. I got all fucking jazzed up figuring out adventure stuff. I'm out of breath. It's like running a marathon in my brain. Yeah, so... And of course, like, none of this is, you know, something may go wrong in that. And then, should that happen, we'll roll with it. Like a character death or something like that. And we'll go from there. So, from my perspective, I have to design Big Bad Evil Guy and get his whole thing put together. I have to we have to get the characters rolled up. We might do that together, me and husband, at some point. Maybe a weekend stream, something like that. I have to design at least 2 dungeons. Big dungeons. I want them to be, you know, pretty epic size dungeons. And then God knows how many encounters all together there. In between. And then some magic items and stuff like that. Huh. Okay. I'm thinking of starting these characters at level 3, because they're meant to be a little bit more capable. So starting them at 3 will give us access to cool stuff that will, you know, make the characters a little different from each other from the get-go, rather than just, you know, if a character dies, Nimesh uses necromancy to throw them at the NPCs. Yeah, always something like that could happen, and we can bring other ones in. God forbid that the ritual is successful, then it might alter the entire story of Galdor itself. Who knows? Who knows? I don't think that's going to happen, because I don't want that to happen, and I've already set up Galdor pretty handedly. So, unless we push it past the timeline of my current game, we could technically put it in the future. That in my main game with my characters, they're not gonna, you know, it could be in the future basically. So we could do that to make sure if anything big happens, it doesn't affect the main storyline. That would be a pretty easy way to make sure that didn't happen. So we can definitely figure that out. Meow. Whew. Yeah, okay. I've got some stuff to do, for sure. Wednesday's stream is going to be busy with a lot of Egyptian research, as you can see. I've got to watch like 4 different movies for inspiration. Well, 2 movies, maybe 3, and Moon Knight, because it's so good. If he wins, you could just say he's alive, just in another country. Yeah. They're currently based in another country, so... But the problem is, one of my characters, Eekster's character, Nubia, is based out of that country. So... I would have to think about how that would change. So I might just make it in the future. It could be something that happens during my main group's time. So... If something happens, they have to deal, but I don't plan on, failure being the thing. This is pulp. This is meant, you're meant to win if you're good. So, that's kind of the vibe. Same thing with D&D in general. Big damn heroes, like we said before, you're not meant to fail that hard. You're just supposed to have little trip-ups along the way. Oh, yes, I do have a Discord. Here, 1 second. Please, yes, join us. Join us. Imhotep. Imhotep. Yes, feel free to join us. Tell us about what you're working on. We have a creative chat in there, whether it's game design, world building, if you draw pictures, just anything that is creative in nature that you want to talk about or you want ideas for, you feel free. Otherwise, chatting about Galdor itself as we design, you can see what people have made for it thus far, because we've got some crazy talented people. Yeah, so please do join. We look forward to hearing from you and all the cool shit that you make. But for now, because I'm actually tired and my hip is acting up, so I'm gonna see if I can find somebody to raid. Let's see who we got. Let's see. Geezer Gym is probably gonna end here soon, I know. Let's see. Shh, quiet. My cat is yelling at me because he's hungry. Which I get. You have a nice day too, Striker. If you want to stick around for the raid, awesome. If not, that is totally fine. Completely up to you. I'm gonna look at some DM people. Or D&D people, rather. Woo! Hello, Noise. Hydrate. Oh, thank you. I shall, before... before I pass out. We've got a map maker. Yeah, let's check out Dyson Draws. Here, 1 second. Let me... Oh, shut up, ad! Sorry if that was loud. Okay, I need like a ending panel so you guys don't have to worry about that kind of shit. But I appreciate you guys hanging out and figuring out so many cool fucking things. I'm super fucking excited to do this. But we're gonna go ahead and raid Dyson logos. There, it looks like he's doing some map design, so that'll be fun. So yeah, stick around for that, and take care of yourselves. Don't forget to play pretend, as I always say. And I will see you guys on Wednesday, and we'll figure out what cool shit we're gonna be doing then. Bye.